Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen or Set Her Rue, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys, I want to thank you for all the messages I've received lately. I want to thank you for all the inboxes, and I want to thank you for all the questions because Asking Aquarius works because you you ask me questions. If you didn't ask me questions, there would be no Asking Aquarius. So I want to thank you for the time that you put in, for the comments that you make, and for the support that you give the channel. It's extremely helpful to me, and helps me to be able to get the messages out that I want to give people. So, guys, one of the things that happens in these messages that I'm talking about is every day somebody or somebody's hits me up and tells me about falling in love with the wrong person. Many of us have fallen in love with the wrong person. And today I just wanted to tell you guys who are in this space of pain, or who have been in this space, or who are working through this space. I just wanted to tell you guys that this happens to the best of us. The best of us pick the wrong one sometimes. I mean, of course, not everybody does. Some people pick the right ones immediately. Some people have the easiest relationships, It's not the norm, but it does happen. Some people meet somebody at 18, fall in love, get married, and till death do them part, And so I wanted to say that it does happen very frequently. And like I said, it happens to the best of us. Many of us pick the wrong person. And for different reasons. Some of us pick the wrong person because our heart is just open, and the first person that was really, compatible with us, we started being with them and we gave them our hearts. Many of us went down this road very naive, because when you first fall in love, you're usually really young, and you don't know a lot of stuff that you figure out later in life. And then still more of us, it happens later in life, So my message today is just that I wanted you to know, if you fell in love with the wrong person and your heart is broken and you're devastated and you're trying to pull the pieces back together, I want you to know that this is very normal, number one. It happens to a lot of us. And number two, I want you to know that things will get better. Like, the pain that you feel from it, the agony, it does feel like death. I remember laying in bed crying, and I cried and cried and cried and cried. I cried for a long time. And I didn't cry just because of the breakup. I was crying because of all the emotional stuff that I was carrying from the breakup and before. I had a lot of emotional stuff that I had never dealt with. I had only compartmentalized and put in a drawer somewhere, and pretty much just hadn't dealt with it. So it was very painful, because when I had the final emotional breakdown from being in this awful relationship with the only person I had ever been in love with, when I had this break, the dam just broke. Everything came. It wasn't just the emotions from the relationship, it was the emotions from everything. When the dam breaks, all the water comes out, not just some of it. So I wasn't able to hold any of it back, so I had to just let it go. I had to just let it fly. And I cried and cried and cried. I cried for, I'm thinking, at least a year, because I remember a year I was a teacher at the time, and I remember that whole year being so sad. I remember going to the bathroom and crying during my breaks. I remember coming home and crying. It was just really painful. And it might have been a year or two. The first year was the worst. The second year, I was kind of like, dealing, with the end of it. And then it was a climb up. So after all the pain comes out, then you have to start climbing back up. And that took years. So my point to you is that a lot of us do this. A lot of us experience this. And I want you, those of you who are going through this, I just want you to remember to be strong, and remember that it's not going to be forever. Eventually, the tears will dry up. Eventually, I stopped crying. Eventually, and I don't even remember when it happened. Just one day, it was okay again. It was nothing else to cry about. All the tears had come out, and it was time to do the work. So I just want you guys to know, number one, let yourself have your grieving process. Be gentle with yourself, and don't put yourself on a time frame. Let yourself work through the hurt. Let yourself release it. Let yourself go through whatever process that is, and don't judge yourself, you know, and don't put yourself down like, oh my God, I can't believe, dummy, you did this. A lot of people that come to me are angry with themselves. They feel stupid for even falling for this person or being with this person. And I felt the same way. After I left Voldemort, I felt awful that I had spent time with such a negative person. I felt awful that I had spent so much emotional energy on somebody who didn't even deserve a conversation from me. And a lot of my letters and things that people say to me, they feel the same way. They feel stupid. They feel bad. They feel robbed. It's like, why was I even talking to this bottom feeder? And I felt exactly the same way. But there was a reason why that situation came to you. And in some cases, it's because you need to better yourself and treat yourself better. So a lot of us end up with these kinds of people because we're not giving ourselves enough love, and we're settling for somebody who's good enough. Like, I have feelings for this person. I care about this person, but I know this person is not in my league. I know this person doesn't care as much about me as I care about them. This person probably doesn't even care about themselves. But we walk on down the road with them because of whatever we're feeling at that time. So don't feel guilty and don't put yourself through that. This happened for a reason, and it can either be productive and help you, because being with Voldemort and escaping him helped me. It helped me be the person I wanted to be. It helped me aspire to have more and do more and be better. Because the energy was already there, the desire was already there, but I was just like, I'm not ready. I'll do it later. I had all these excuses. But once the dam broke, it was nothing else I could do. All I could do was sink or swim. And I would be damned if I let myself sink. So I had to handle it, and I had to handle it right then and there. So for many of you, these kinds of things can be the catalyst for a happier life, better relationships, or more healthy you. You see? So these awful situations can turn into a blessing. If I hadn't met Voldemort, I probably would have came to this space anyway, but it might have taken longer. It might have taken a more ugly situation. For as ugly as that situation was, it could have been worse. So maybe it would have taken something more ugly for the dam to break, you know? So a lot of times I'm thankful. I'm thankful to have fallen in that pit, because that was what made me say, you know what? I'm getting up. I'm getting all the way up, you know? And it was that fall that made me change. It was that fall that made me want to do better, have better, feel better. A lot of it had to do with just wanting to be out of pain. So if you're sitting here right now and you have your own Voldemort, you're trying to heal from, you're trying to escape from, whatever, you know, wherever you're at, because a lot of people have their own Voldemort, I've come to find from talking to you guys. Wherever you're at in your process, don't beat yourself up. Just go through your process. And if you go through the process in a productive, healthy way, so using emotional and spiritual and mental health things that are going to get you to a better space, if you do that, you will do yourself a major favor, because you'll come out of this negative situation triumphant. See, it's not about, winning is about getting to the next level. You see, winning is about climbing up. So if this is what it takes for you to be triumphant, if this is what it takes for you to become the best version of yourself, then that's fine. But don't beat yourself through the process. Just go through the process and treat yourself kindly. And one day you'll turn around and be like, oh my God, look how far I got. I used to cry to Goddess and say, there's so many obstacles in my way. How can I deal with this? How can I heal? How can I get to a better space? And she would tell me the same thing. Climb one step every day. So if you're out there and you're dealing with this, climb one step every day. Every day, do one thing that gets you closer to your goal. If you can do that, you'll find yourself over the mountain. You'll find yourself in a happy, healed place. And you might even meet somebody who's worth your time one day. Okay? So let me tell you, when I think about you guys, it brings tears to my eyes because it reminds me of myself. It reminds me of being in that broken place. And it reminds me of the sting of that hurt. But you can get past it and you can be happy again. Happier, actually, than you ever were in the first place. I've been happier in this space than I ever was in my life. So those big bad Voldemorts come along, and if you play your cards right, you can turn that energy around into something that betters your life instead of something that took away from it. Okay? So if you love the wrong person, congratulations. You're in the basket with the rest of us. Now use that energy to truly live your best life. That's the best thing you can do. If you've had a Voldemort, the smartest thing you can do is get revenge. But get it by living your best life. By not giving them a second thought. By brushing off all their abuse and living as happy as you possibly can, as balanced as you can, in your own life purpose. You know, that's what these things are for. They can be stepping stones if you allow them to be, or they can be something that knocks you down. I chose to let that pain make me a better person versus a bitter, hurt person. And you can do the same thing. Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you like this video, please pass it on to someone else who may like it as well. And come back soon because I have a lot more to say. And if you gotta ask somebody, you might as well ask an Aquarius. And since I'm here, you might as well ask me. Likewise, all of my information is going to be underneath this video. So if you would like to contact me, please do. All right? If you want to get a reading, email me and I'll set you up for an appointment. All right, guys, it's time for me to go shopping. So I got to get going. See you later.